You're surrounded by friends texting, calling, laughing, but somehow you still feel alone. That emptiness you hide behind smiles isn't a lack of people. It's a lack of connection. Most people live their lives pretending they're understood, but deep down, they're quietly lonely. Why does this happen even in friendships and relationships? Think about your closest friendships and relationships. You laugh, you hang out, you share moments, but late at night, when everything is quiet, do you feel that emptiness, that hollow space no one seems to notice? You try to talk, to share, to be heard, but somehow feels like no one truly understands you. You're not alone in this feeling. So many people around the world carry hidden loneliness, even when surrounded by loved ones. It's a silent struggle, a quiet ache that goes unseen, yet it shapes the way we feel, act, and connect with others every single day. The loneliness behind the smiles. Look around. Everyone seems happy, laughing, chatting, sharing moments on social media, but beneath those smiles, many are quietly struggling. That laughter, those jokes, those casual conversations, they often hide a deeper emptiness that nobody notices. People have learned to mask their true feelings, to put on a brave face, to convince the world they're fine, even when they're not. This kind of loneliness is invisible. It's not about being physically alone. It's about feeling emotionally disconnected while surrounded by others. You might be at a party, in a family gathering, or hanging out with friends, and yet a hollow ache persists. You try to join in, to laugh, to contribute. But deep down, there's a part of you that feels unseen, unheard, and misunderstood. The masks we wear are both protective and isolating. They shield us from judgment and rejection, yet they also prevent authentic connection. You might laugh with your friends while your heart whispers, "I wish someone truly understood me." That hidden loneliness shapes your interactions, your trust, and even how you view relationships. It's a silent weight carried beneath the surface, unnoticed by most, profoundly affecting your sense of belonging and emotional well-being. Phase 2, feeling misunderstood. Even in your closest relationships, there's a quiet frustration that lingers, the feeling that no one truly gets you. You speak, you share your thoughts, your struggles, your dreams, but somehow your words never fully land. You watch as friends nod politely, partners listen politely, yet a subtle distance remains, like a wall between what you feel and what others perceive. This sense of being misunderstood is isolating. It's not about conflict. It's about the absence of true connection. You yearn for someone who can feel your emotions without judgment, who can understand your inner world even when it's messy, complicated, or painful. Yet often, people respond with advice, distraction, or empty reassurance, leaving your deeper self unheard. Over time, this repeated pattern creates a silent loneliness. You begin to doubt whether anyone can ever really understand you. Even when surrounded by people who care, the lack of authentic understanding leaves a subtle emptiness. You crave connection, yet the distance between your inner reality and the perception of others makes you feel invisible, unheard, and profoundly alone in your experience. Phase 3. Superficial connections. And many friendships and relationships today exist only on the surface. People meet, talk, laugh, and share moments, but the depth, the genuine emotional connection, is missing. Conversations often revolve around mundane topics, shared activities, or social media updates, rather than honest feelings, fears, or dreams. The connection looks real from the outside, but inside, a subtle emptiness persists. Superficiality leaves you feeling isolated even when you're with people. You might spend hours chatting or engaging, but when the interaction ends, the quiet moment reminds you of the void. You realize that while others are part of your life, they may not know the real you, and you may not fully know them either. The danger of superficial connections is that they create the illusion of belonging while deepening loneliness. You may feel seen but not understood, heard but not valued at your core. The mask of casual friendship or surface level relationship hides the emotional gap, yet the loneliness it produces is real, silent, and persistent. The kind of loneliness that whispers, "You are surrounded, yet still alone." See Axis 4. Social media illusion. In today's world, social media creates a powerful illusion of connection. You see friends posting photos, sharing updates, and interacting online, and it seems like everyone is connected, supported, and understood. Yet behind the screens, many are just as lonely as you are. Likes, comments, and reactions mimic attention, but they cannot replace real emotional connection. Scrolling through feeds can amplify loneliness. You compare your life to curated snapshots, believing others are happier, closer, or more fulfilled. Even as you engage digitally, deeper yearning for genuine understanding and intimacy remains unmet. The constant notifications trick your brain into thinking you are socially connected, while in reality, the emotional distance grows. Illusion can be deceptive and dangerous. You feel seen by numbers and interactions, yet unseen at the level that truly matters. You may message, tag, or react, but your deeper emotions, your inner struggles, remain hidden, untouched, and unacknowledged. Social media provides the appearance of community, but for many, it intensifies the quiet ache of real loneliness, the kind that no like, share, or comment can ever soothe. There 55. Fear of vulnerability. One of the deepest reasons loneliness thrives in friendships and relationships is the fear of vulnerability. People often hide their true selves, fears, insecurities, dreams, pain, because they worry about rejection, judgment, or being misunderstood. You may long for closeness, yet instinctively hold back the parts of yourself that matter most. This fear creates an invisible barrier. You laugh, share stories, and appear open, but your deepest emotions remain locked away. Even when someone is close, you guard your heart, unsure if revealing your true feelings will bring understanding or hurt. The result is a paradox. You crave connection, yet your own fear keeps it just out of reach. Vulnerability is uncomfortable, yes, but it's also the bridge to genuine intimacy. Without it, relationships remain surface level, leaving a persistent ache of loneliness. You may be surrounded by people, yet without the courage to reveal your authentic self, the emotional gap widens. The heart feels the emptiness, the mind notices the distance, and the soul quietly longs for someone brave enough to see the real you, and for you to see them in return. Step 6. Emotional disconnect. Spending time together doesn't always mean connecting emotionally. Many friendships and relationships suffer from a quiet emotional disconnect, where people are physically present but mentally and emotionally distant. You might sit across from a friend, partner, or family member, sharing activities or conversations, yet feel a subtle emptiness, as if an invisible wall separates your inner world from theirs. This disconnect is often unnoticed by others, but it can be profoundly isolating. You may share stories, go out together, or engage in laughter, yet the underlying feelings, struggles, or thoughts remain unshared, unacknowledged, and untouched. Over time, this gap reinforces the sense that no one truly sees you, understands you, or cares for the real you beneath the surface. Emotional disconnect doesn't only create loneliness, it undermines trust, intimacy, and authenticity. The closer you are physically to someone without real emotional engagement, the sharper the loneliness can feel. You may crave closeness, yet repeatedly experience the frustration of being unseen, unheard, and emotionally isolated, even in the company of those you love the most. Verse 7. Unmet expectations. Feel loneliness often grows quietly in the spaces between what we expect from relationships and what we actually receive. You may enter friendships or romantic relationships hoping for understanding, support, and emotional closeness, yet find that your needs are overlooked or unmet. Even when people are present, the lack of alignment between your expectations and reality creates a subtle, lingering emptiness. Unmet expectations are not always intentional. Friends may be busy, partners may be distracted, or communication may fail, but the impact is deeply felt. You might crave a listening ear, a comforting presence, or validation of your emotions, and when those are missing, the sense of isolation intensifies. The heart longs for connection, yet repeatedly experiences subtle rejection or indifference, reinforcing the quiet ache of loneliness. Patterns shape how you relate to others. You may lower expectations, guard your heart, or withdraw emotionally to protect yourself from disappointment. Yet, even in self-protection, the loneliness persists. A reminder that connection is not just about physical presence. It's about meeting each other's emotional needs. And when those needs go unmet, the isolation remains invisible yet profoundly real. As create, communication gap size, loneliness often thrives in the silent spaces created by communication gaps. In many relationships, people fail to express their true feelings, thoughts, and needs. Conversations exist. They revolve around surface-level topics, plans, logistics, or casual banter, rather than honest sharing of emotions or inner struggles. This lack of depth leaves a void that no amount of physical presence can fill. Communication gaps create a subtle distance. You might sit with friends or loved ones, exchange words, and appear connected, yet feel an invisible barrier separating your inner world from theirs. Important thoughts go unspoken, feelings remain unshared, and the longing for understanding lingers in silence. Over time, this builds an emotional chasm that reinforces the sense of being alone, even when surrounded by people. Bridging these gaps requires courage, honesty, and vulnerability, qualities that many fear to exercise. Without them, relationships remain functional but emotionally distant, and loneliness grows quietly beneath the surface. The heart craves connection, the mind notices the silence, and the soul quietly suffers, reminding you that true intimacy is born not from proximity, but from the courage to communicate authentically and deeply. Esther 9. Self-imposed isolation sometimes. Loneliness isn't caused by others. It's a choice, a self-protection mechanism. People often push others away, consciously or unconsciously, out of fear of being hurt, judged, or disappointed. You may isolate yourself emotionally, creating walls around your heart to prevent potential pain. Yet in doing so, you deepen your own solitude. Self-imposed isolation is a paradox. The very action meant to protect you from emotional pain often magnifies loneliness. You avoid vulnerability, avoid sharing your true thoughts and feelings, and distance yourself from relationships, believing it's safer to be alone. But the heart still craves connection, and the mind notices the absence, leaving a persistent ache that physical presence alone cannot heal. Over time, these walls can become habitual, making it harder to trust, open up, or allow authentic relationships to flourish. Even when opportunities for genuine connection arise, fear keeps you at a distance. Self-imposed isolation reminds you that loneliness is not just about others. It's also about the barriers we build within ourselves, and how these walls can both protect and imprison us simultaneously. 10. The paradox of being together but alone. One of the most painful truths about loneliness is that you can be surrounded by people and still feel profoundly alone. You might sit in a room full of friends, be part of a couple, or engage in family gatherings, yet feel a subtle emptiness that no laughter, conversation, or presence can fill. This is the paradox of modern relationships. Proximity does not guarantee connection. Being together physically without emotional or mental alignment creates a unique kind of isolation. You notice the smiles, the chatter, and the shared activities, but beneath the surface, the heart longs for genuine understanding. Words are exchanged, but feelings remain unspoken. Touches are shared, but the soul feels untouched. This disconnect between presence and true intimacy magnifies loneliness, making you feel unseen even among those you care about most. This paradox is a quiet teacher. It shows that relationships are not measured by quantity, number of friends, hours spent together, or social interactions, but by quality. True connection requires emotional vulnerability, honest communication, and empathy. Without these, you can be physically together yet emotionally worlds apart. And the hidden loneliness grows quietly, persistently, and profoundly, reminding you that presence alone cannot substitute for authentic human connection. Remember, loneliness is not always about being alone. You can be surrounded by people, yet feel invisible, unheard, and disconnected. Hidden loneliness exists in friendships, relationships, and even within yourself. Recognizing it is the first step toward change. Right now, take a moment to reflect. Who do you truly feel connected to? Out to one person today, not just a message, but a heartfelt conversation. Share something real, listen deeply, and allow yourself to be vulnerable. Small acts of authentic connection can bridge the loneliness you've been carrying. Because when you open your heart and embrace authentic communication, loneliness fades. You begin to feel seen, understood, and deeply connected. Even small steps toward genuine connection can transform friendships, relationships, and your own sense of belonging. If this message touched you, share it with someone who needs it. And for more motivational talks, changing insights, and guidance on building authentic connections, subscribe and join our community. Your journey to real connection starts here.